Good morning, friends. This is Subashree. Today I will be talking to you about a topic that we all can relate to. This concerns the importance of the heart and our connection with it. Very often, we base our decisions on thought, an analytical approach, but what we don't realize is there's a domain that is far superior to the rational thoughts. However, it is very important to look at the situation and first evaluate it on a mental level. But what we will notice is, as soon as we look at the topic on a deeper level, we see that the subject concerns certain things that might be much more integral to our sense of transformation. It may not be very new to us. Take, for example, the subject of changing a career or making a decision regarding a child's education. In either case, it might seem like a new step of our progression, and we might have to make choices based on something else that we have heard about. But when we look at this particular subject, we see that deeply ingrained are certain elements that makes us explore our leanings towards it. So when we look on a deeper level, we see that the subject of changing a career might have always been something that has been on our mind, or rather in our heart. It could be a certain thought that we have been ignoring over a passage of time. So the deepest need is to first identify our feelings and our innermost thoughts towards the subject. And this does not really require a mental speculation. We might have to sit aside and set aside some time just for introspection. And while we sit down and feel the experience of being with a new subject and having the necessity to make a decision, we will understand a lot of things about our past which eventually led us to this point. So, this mode of speculating based on introspection can give us a lot of clarity about why the subject cropped up in the first place. So, while we sit down and analyze ourselves, we begin to understand the different desires that we might have had within ourselves, the different things that we might have suppressed in order to move on with certain other subjects in our life. So, while we do this inner exploration, we feel a sense of balance and harmony within ourselves. And this is why any at any point we are required to make a decision. Very often, a decision making is the culmination of various life events, and we reach that point only when we have reached a stage where we are forced to address certain issues that we have not been giving much attention to. Basically, we have been ignoring several things in our life until we reach a point where it crops up as a subject that demands attention, where we now cannot procrastinate any further and we need to make a decision. So, when such is the case, it is time to renew ourselves. It is time to sit down and connect deeply with our heart. Connecting to our heart requires a little bit of imagination. The best thing that we could visualize is ourself as a new person, as a person who is now subject to the different challenges and seated quietly within the heart. When you see yourself in this manner, you see yourself as a person who is now at the brink of change, but also sitting down and bearing the influence of several factors. Now you are just the witness, you are just the onlooker, and you are looking with sympathy, sometimes with admiration, at this person who is seated in your heart. While you do this, you begin to develop an empathy towards the person, and several emotions might arise. You might find that sympathy could be the most predominant emotion in your mind. Sometimes there could be a dislike or a contempt. But no matter what it is, you just have to feel what you might have as an attitude towards this person who is seated in your heart. While you continue this process, you will see many emotions arise. But what would be the result of this is that you would develop a sense of deeper understanding and compassion towards this person who has been subject to various turmoils, changes, expectations, and has finally become the person that you are. So, this personality deserves a lot of compassion. While just experiencing compassion, you begin to get a certain clarity about your purpose and about how you need to move. No matter what decision you take, it must be aligned with the purpose that is deeply inlaid within you. When the personality begins to execute the purpose of your self, your larger self, that has been looking at this personality seated in the heart, the personality eventually becomes happy in whatever is done. So you will see when you come back to your personality that interacts with the world, that makes decisions, that faces challenges, and you begin to align your actions with the larger self which you had become while looking at this tiny personality seated in the heart. You see there is a sort of synchronized action, and this brings a lot of joy within the personality. This heart exercise is something that can be done on a daily basis, but definitely it ought to be done while you face a challenge or when you need to make a decision. A decision that is formed out of this kind of compassionate approach towards the personality brings a lot of clarity, and the decision is bound to be more solid and rooted in your larger self. Thank you.